Matt, what were your thoughts on your defense today?
I thought we did a really good job. Obviously, they're very hard to handle. If you're going to try to knock them out in the post or make it tough for them to get the basketball, sometimes you're not in the best rebound position. And, those two big guys are hard to handle. But I thought our guys did a good job of really just swarming the ball and being in help and knowing what's going on. They got us on a couple, quick post-ups with Morcell, which they got one basket for. They started each half trying to post him, and we weren't prepared for that. But outside of that, I thought our guys did a good job when to trap, when not to trap. And it kind of, as the game goes on, then it gets to where the guards are trying to break you down more than get the ball in the post. If you're making, kind of a concession to have that kind of post awareness to knock them out. So that's what we were trying to do. I think we did a pretty good job in the most part. Obviously, we weren't perfect. So.
Matt, what did Aaron Wheeler give you tonight that you needed to win this game?
Well, making threes is a big part of what we do. And his ability to come off the bench and make 3 threes and just give us that punch. His 1 3 in the second half was a big basket for us. So just coming in and executing and, knocking down some shots and, being around the basketball. But it was obviously a great game for him and much needed. Carson and Ryan struggled, shooting the basketball. So for, Grady to knock down a couple threes and for him to knock down 3 threes, that really helped us.
But how did you feel about just Carson's decision-making? It seemed like he was able to let some players develop and get the offense going.
I thought he did a good job making decisions. I thought he let the game come to him. And even though he didn't knock down shots, he made a big 3 late. He made his free throws. But he tried to, kind of just let things come to him and let the game kind of take its place and then just kind of pick a spot. So I thought it was good. You can't judge always on hits and misses. And so we want him to be aggressive. We want, to try to run things for him and get him open and to get angles, to get space, things of that nature. But I thought it was a really good game for him. It didn't go his way in terms of shooting, but I thought he did a lot of other things for us.
Matt, did your team show you something different about it, that it was able to grind out a game like this where,
Right.
With 33 turnovers or whatever it was and the scoreless drought at the end of the game?
Yeah, if you you have a drought and you have your 2 leading scorers shoot the percentages that they did, and you get out rebounded by 10 and you have 16 turnovers, you'd think you lose the game. But we were able to hang in there and be in a good position where we're a possession better than them. Going into the last 15, 16 seconds. We didn't make our free throws, make all of them. Carson made his free throws, and we could have closed the game out. Or at least get it to 2 possessions and to make it more difficult for them. I shouldn't say close it out. But so it was a good, team win for us. It was a gritty win, but it also could have went the other way. Anytime you get those 1-possession games, it could have went the other way. And they're a good team. And I think they got some guys that are in good roles. I think that's always important. They got a good point guard. They got some guys that can shoot the basketball. They have some athleticism that can drive. And then they got those 2 big guys that are going to cause everybody problems. Their ability to post and be able to guard, and if they can continue to kind of make some open shots. They had some guys make with Bruno and Lindo, and there might be another one out there. Smith was 2 for 11 going in the game, and he made a 3. So they made some threes from some other guys. We were really trying to limit a lot of other guys, their main guys, but, those guys aren't traditional 3-point shooters, even though I think Smith in time is going to be a pretty good 3-point shooter.
Speaking of threes from other guys, can you just speak to the importance of the stretch where they went up 6 and it felt like they were starting to build to something, and you get the back-to-back threes from Harms and Eifert?
Right. Yeah, that was big. That was a big part of the game, them pushing it out to 3 possessions, and then, they leave Grady open in transition, kind of like we left Wiggins open in the first half. All of a sudden, he's just wide open, and Wiggins is a guy that we weren't going to leave. So for Grady to knock that one down, and then obviously he started the game with the 3, and then I think Harms hit his right after Bruno hit one too. Or maybe it was Smith, I'm not sure, but I think it was right after Bruno. Like the centers, traded threes. But it was it was a part of the game where we were struggling, and we needed some baskets. So it was huge that those guys made both of them.
Hey, Coach, it's early this season. This is essentially a new team this year. How happy are you that these guys play together and won tonight's game because they gutted out and won this game?
Well, we've got into some close games and we haven't, played well down the stretch defensively. Some things sometimes don't go your way. It just doesn't, and we just didn't do the things necessary to win, the Florida State or the Virginia Tech game, but yet we were in position. So to get back in a position of a close game, even though we're at home, to win it, I think can really give our team some confidence.
Coach, your decision to foul late,
Yes.
3, is that something that you're firm with, or is that something scouting report or team specific that you'll do in certain games?
I wouldn't say I'm firm with it. I say I'm kind of going in that direction more. I'm doing it more. I think you still have to have a feel for what's going on. The thing that concerns me, there's a couple things that concern me, is how fast Anthony Cowan is. So you can say go foul, and then he can get away from you. So then by the time you do go foul, now he's into his motion, and that almost happened anyways. And you could still, I haven't seen the film, but you could probably argue that. I don't think college officials are more in tune to call that from half court as maybe an NBA guy is once you get into your motion. So we just don't think guys are going to shoot. I just don't think it's realistic guys are going to shoot half court shots with 3.5 seconds on the clock. So I think that's what, but he did it. He really tried to get into his motion. And so we I don't know if we got a break there, but that's one of the things you have to worry about. And then obviously the rebound. We've had that happen a couple times when we played internationally. Summer before last, we had the same thing happen on a box out, and a guy gets a tip in. So everybody says it's automatic, you got to foul. Any announcer that watches a game says this is automatic, this is why, guys, you should do it. But then we've had situations where it's not. If you stay in coaching long enough, you eventually find a way to mess it all up no matter what you do. You're splitting hairs in my opinion. But you're also making some circumstantial things have to happen instead of Wiggins making a 3 or Cowan making a 3, and so those guys make threes. And so but for them to be able to, now they got to go make a free throw, now they got to miss a free throw, now they got to get a rebound, now they got to make that. There's some things that has to happen, and you should have a little bit of an advantage in that situation in terms of rebounding, but not a lot. It just depends on how they miss it.
Are you still seeing the contributions Aaron's making defensively? Are those coming still primarily just from his athleticism, or is he coming along just in the fundamentals and the IQ stuff that you need to?
Well, it just depends on who we play and what they're doing. But I thought tonight he did some good things. He was active, and he got a couple basketballs for us early in the game. Deflections and things like that. But, he just has to keep coming. Like a lot of times, he's a fifth-year guy, and he redshirted, so he's a pretty old freshman. But he needs opportunities. He needs to play. Sometimes you get into scenarios and you get into certain games with a really young guy, and they just don't get maybe an opportunity because somebody else plays well, and you're just not comfortable yet. Obviously, this game's, a lot of players want people to instill confidence in them. They want coaches to, instill confidence in them, when in reality, players instill confidence in coaches. We've done this before. And so the one thing that, tonight, being in this environment and playing, I thought it was a little bit of a silver lining for us in Michigan. Like Grady Eifert, has played well for us. I thought he deserved to go. I thought Grady deserved to go back in, but Aaron didn't play much in the game before, just because we started the second half at Florida State with a good mix of guys, and we were able to come back. And so I just stayed with that rotation. Well, that doesn't help your confidence as a player. It just doesn't, because you're the one out of it. Now he was able to play well, make a couple shots, get a tip dunk against Michigan. Even though we got blasted, I thought that was a positive for him. He shot the ball well this week in practice, and then it really showed in this game. So he, those are some things I think that really help, him, and really help me also. That he's been in the fire a little bit here now, and he really came through for us tonight.